All right, you guys ready?
Ready.
Yep.
All right, I'm going to call the meeting to order. Thank you, everyone, for coming out. First agenda item is the approval of our March meeting minutes. Any corrections, changes? Motion to approve?
So motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Do we have any pending plans ready to expire?
Real quick though, you said you'd be here for the meeting.
I'll be
PC
here.
meeting.
Yeah, I'll be here for the
Okay.
PC
I
meeting.
want to make sure we have a quorum if we need to vote on one for all two.
Oh. Well, you know what?
Yeah, I'll be here for the meeting.
You'll be here for the meeting?
Wait, yeah.
Yeah, the meeting will be like the 12th. Yeah. All right. So, Mike, you're up. TNG and D.
Mike Russick, MSR Engineering, here representing Dave Nice. He couldn't attend tonight. He is currently working on a number of projects. He's a contractor and he just received a number of contracts and it's opening construction season and he's doing what he does. Purpose of tonight really is to give you an update of the plans. There have been some substantial changes since the original submission. I'm going to go through those and review those. And basically just give a bullet point status of the different items. And as I go through this, I'll probably cover just about everything in Steve's letter as far as anything that he may have pointed out. I don't know where is the best place to stand where I can also point to them. So the first plan you see here is the overall land development plan sheet. And can I approach that without the mic or?
You can take the mic with
me. Makes it easier. So the property is located on the west side of Bethlehem Pike between Wyco Road and Forest Road. It's a 15-acre site, net site area, around plus 16 with the ultimate right-of-way. And there's roughly around 6.6 acres of sensitive features, which is a substantial portion of the property, including wetlands, a stream, wetland buffers. The site is predominantly wooded, except for a large cleared area up in the front with kind of a little bulb that goes into the southern portion. The original plan that we had for the site had the building originally up further and more centrally in the property, and also the driveway entrance was at a location further north from the current location. With the building location where it was originally, we had a large stormwater management area here in the back, and we also had some additional storage yard area over here that extended further north. As a result of the first review and looking at the overall layout, cut and fill balances needed for the property, some substantial changes that were made was we eliminated the stormwater management facilities in the back and pushed the building further to the back. The intent here is to maximize any of the yard area to the front of the building. And then we also relocated the entrance more centrally. Actually, the entrance proposed now is where the existing entrance comes into the property, which gives it a more central location. Also, what we did was we cut back originally this area here, extended into the riparian area. This was a pre-existing historic fill area, but Steve had pointed out that despite the fact that it was previously disturbed, we still had to honor the requirements for the riparian buffer. So that was pulled back, entrance pulled down, building pushed to the back. What I'm going to be doing for stormwater management, once we know that we have the site locked down and pretty much the entrance locked down, is it's going to be kind of a two-part stormwater management. I'm going to have a linear stormwater management facility across the top of the plateau area. That'll primarily cover the front portion of the property. And then secondarily, we'll have an underground facility back here at the building that'll cover the remainder of the project. One other kind of key feature here is, if you see this line here, this orange line, this is where the existing top of bank is of that plateau area. The intent here is to also straighten this plateau out and take that undulation out of that area, so it's more efficient use of the property up front. There is an area here that's proposed for a future expansion of the yard. At this point, this may go away on the next submission, which I anticipate to be the final submission that locks everything in for preliminary plan approval. The thing that we're dealing with up in this area here is, Steve had pointed out that there are patches of steep slopes that are regulated. They're not fully throughout the whole area, but when I map them, it's going to be really hard to provide the preservation requirements and be able to use that area the way it's intended to be used. So we may end up backing that area out and then just having what you see here with this layout, excluding this area. We just received, submission was made to PennDOT for a scoping application, and we had just received, through Dave Horner, the traffic engineer, has received their response. Nothing earth shattering. If you can go to the next page. Here's the general entrance design. It's going to have an island, an entrance lane, an exit lane, large radii for the trucks. From talking to Dave Horner, one of the key changes to this is we currently have 11-foot wide lanes at the choke point. PennDOT wants those widened, from what I understand, to 14 feet. So this will be modified to meet those comments. Secondarily, with respect to the front, while we're kind of looking at here, we do have a required Class A buffer along the front with fencing and plantings that will supplement the front of the site. These will also be supplemented with required street trees. Eventually, when we take a look at the waiver request, we actually removed the street trees from the waiver request, and we are now putting the street trees in. One of the original ideas was that existing trees would be sufficient to meet the street tree requirements. But after Steve looked at it, and after us taking a second look at it, a lot of what's there is pretty much junk. And so his intent now will be to clean up the frontage, put the street trees in, the required fencing, and the required plantings as required by the ordinance. Go to the next slide.
And Mike, before you move on,
Sure.
what is a mountable island?
That's where it's not a straight curb. It's got the rolled curb on it.
They can roll over.
So if a truck doesn't quite make the turn, it's going to have it's going to have large radii, and plus we're widening it out to 14-foot lanes. I can't imagine that there's going to be an issue. And we actually have turning templates that currently work for this. It's just that they're going to work better now. But yeah, the island here would not be a straight vertical 8-inch reveal. It would be the rolled curb.
Like a roundabout that every tractor trailer.
Yes.
has.
Yeah. Go next slide. This is the existing features plan. We'll just quickly go over this again. This shows the significant features. We have the wetlands, the stream in the back of the portion of the property. This green line is the existing tree line that exists, the open plateau area with kind of a bulbed area that extends into the back, and showing with the woodland coverage and the plan that's being reviewed does have everything labeled as far as areas as they exist. Again, the existing entrance up here. Next sheet. This is pretty much just an enlargement of the first plan. It kind of covers everything. With this kind of shows more in detail. These purple lines here are the grading lines that show you how the grading from the plateau will transition down and be beyond the protected area of the wetland buffers and the other riparian buffers. Next slide. Just an enlargement of the proposed future expanded area, but again, we're contemplating possibly removing that from the plan at this point, just due to difficulty of the zoning requirements for slope protection. When I go through it, I think we're going to have some issues that we're not going to be able to overcome to easily to get the plan through. So we think we're just going to punt on that. Next slide. Next slide. It's pretty much the same thing. That was it. I'll give you more of that. Okay. All right. Well, the other plans, landscape plans, you'll have them in front of you. I can quickly just go over, summarize landscaping. What we're dealing with the landscaping is we have the street trees, we have the buffer trees in the front, the type A buffer. With respect to the landscaping requirements, there's the ordinance specifies shading requirements. So what I did was calculate the required number of trees. So there's a minimum 80 trees required per the calculations for the 100% shading. And the tree layout that we did has 81 trees on it. Now, the caveat here is because of the nature of his business and the size of the vehicles, the trucks, the track hose, hauling vehicles, it's not a typical parking lot where we can have all kind of islands throughout the area that we can supplement the parking area with those trees for the shading. So what I essentially did was we are providing the required number of trees. If you look on, go back to the grading plan. Greg, I can point it out in here. Go one more. Yeah, stay here. If you look on the landscape plan, where we're doing the embankment correction to straighten this back area out where it undulates along the plateau. Basically, we're lining this entire slope with those trees and around, and basically finding locations also over in the south side of the property, basically to provide those trees. And actually, it actually is a second benefit to doing that, because those root systems, the landscape architect that I used picked tree species that are suitable for slope stabilization. So they'll actually supplement any vegetation planting we do there. So it provides a double protection for that area. Landscaping, I think that's pretty much covers the bulk of the different nuances and design aspects.
Steve, what do you think about the shade trees? I mean, I know we've done this with other similar plans where
It's
just can't have islands with the traffic. That's
right. It's not uncommon that we've had issues with the shade trees in the commercial
right.
properties. We have relocated them on site, on certain sites. I think the cold storage building is probably the latest one where
Right.
really the whole back end of the site is going to be most of the trees that were supposed to be elsewhere on the site and didn't fit.
What's the roofing on the buildings?
The roofing?
Yeah, to
Yeah, as far as I know,
minimize the
it'll-
heat
it'll-
island effect. that
Yeah,
shade trees are supposed to do.
he hasn't picked the building yet. It would be a typical pole building, so I guess that it'd probably be a corrugated steel panel.
Right.
Can't say for sure. He still has.
I know in other projects where we weren't getting the full effect of the shading, we asked for
We could go white roof.
white roof. Yeah.
I'll convey that to him. He still, it's still a requirement. He still has to provide a building plan that,
Right. Sure.
and I expect to have that as the final cleanup
Right.
when I go through Steve's letter and do all the little nuances that we'll have that to you.
Yeah, and it doesn't need to be a final building plan, just
I
a
understand.
representative.
Yeah.
plan.
And you're looking at What's the building, 10,000 square foot?
Yeah, 10,000 square foot, and then there was another 8,000 square foot up here. Oh, one other aspect I can just keep in mind, lighting. There's going to be minimal lighting on the property. Two key points, we're going to have two standards at the entrance. One for the entrance way and one on the internal portion. This eventually is probably going to be gated in here in some fashion, which we have to figure out and show. So that would be for security. So if someone comes in here, if he comes in here at night and he pulls up to a gate, everything's lit. It's secure. You can see what he's doing. The other lighting would just be wall packs on the smaller front future building. This is basically be like a 5-bay garage for storage, where he would keep construct like small rollers and equipment supplies under roof. And then the main building again will be wall packs around the perimeter, and then there will be 2 light standards in the parking lot. He just advised me when I spoke to him tonight, going through and where we were at, his electrical consultant actually just sent an email with those standards and everything that for me to upload with the illumination information. But again, it's minimal, no residential properties in the vicinity. We are aware of the fact that we're in the airport zone, so everything will be full cutoff. And with what we're going to have, it's going to be really a real minimal impact on illumination.
The stormwater management to the rear side, is that underground?
This will all be underground.
Right.
Underground. What we will do is very common up in Lehigh County, spray irrigation. We were looking at possibly trying to do an MRC system down here, but it seems that because of the volume he's going to deal with, we think that spray irrigation would be the way to go. What we would do with spray irrigation, and DEP has let us do this on prior projects, where obviously where I have woodland, we will probably end up lining this embankment with spray heads and do our disposal into the woodland and the wetland margins and wetland bound and riparian margins. DEP actually even allows it into the wetland as long as the spray is okay, but you can't encroach with any piping. All that has to be outside of those boundaries. So that would be the intent with those 2 collection areas up here and here. And we would find I would find a suitable location to do a level spreader, connecting these 2 systems and a discharge at a location that'll provide minimal impact to this area.
Is it safe to drive over these, the
Underground.
underground?
Yeah. Or we're probably going to be 48-inch pipe, and we're going to be deep corrugated. It's going to be designed for what he's got on the site.
So is it some type of a tank setup at the?
It's just a corrugated steel pipe. We basically use the pipe as storage.
Gravel around it.
Okay. So where's the pump out of?
We'd have a structure at one end where we not only where we pump it, we'd also have an outflow structure that would tie into a pipe conveyance that would junction somewhere with the secondary one.
The spray irrigation is not for the total volume of the stormwater
Right.
facility. It's just
Yeah,
that water quality and recharge volume.
Yeah, it's basically a 2-year volume increase, which they consider to be like 95% of all storms.
All right. How about your septic system? Where's that?
Septic system here, we actually have approval, and there's a secondary system. And that was another reason with this future area here, is that secondary system is in here, and I have to create an island around it.
What type
so
of
that just-
system is it?
It's just standard in-ground.
Really?
Yeah.
And how,
But I shouldn't say it. It's probably going to end up being a sand mound. I'm sorry.
all right. So I'm looking at the location. I'm looking at the
Yeah.
parking area there. You're going to be able to get around that?
Yeah, this will be isolated and protected with fencing.
Right.
We'll have split rail fence around it. And so it'll be protected. And that was the other quandary here was because of the secondary system being up in this location here, it's going to have to be an island and protected with fencing. it's just another one of those things that's in the way, and it just kind of makes it really hard to use this area. So
I did see somewhere that the storage bins and material bins, you're going to allow retail sale of material? Not you.
what what Dave indicated was it's not going to be, if someone comes in with a pickup truck and wants a yard, he's gonna give him a yard.
Right.
But it's not going to be like where he's going to have, not like he's going to have pallets of plants and things like that.
Right.
This is primarily him as a contractor. He can buy bulk for his projects and not like from H&K or sand, stone, even mulch, things for materials for making the bioretention, peat moss and all the special soils. And basically be able to stock up on that and not be so reliant on a supplier.
On the last plan, it showed that this would be for delivery only, not for incoming retail sale. So is there any conflict in the use if we have retail sales in the contractor service?
I'd have to look at that more.
And that would be the second aspect. If somebody called him and said, "Hey, would you deliver to us
Right.
material?" He would do that too.
That I
But
don't think would cause a conflict, but having people come in there. we'd have to-
Yeah, I think that's why it was talked about that way. Because then you run the risk of it being retail sales.
Right. That's
Just permitted in that district, but I don't know if it's permitted in combination with
yeah, that's
two use.
my
It
question.
would almost be accessory. I mean, I wouldn't expect that he's going to have a lot of people coming in there.
And then how about office space? If he's selling product out of there, is he going to be?
Well, that's just it. Is he? It's not like he's setting up for a retail operation.
But they got to pay for that somehow. That it come into an office or
But the office would be down here.
right. So
It'd just be an office in the building.
it'll be almost a retail sales office if they're coming in to buy product off of
So
site.
I guess it technically would be, yeah.
I just want to make sure there's no conflict with the use and the
Okay.
zoning.
Yeah, I can imagine if somebody pulled in and said, "Hey, can I get a yard, whatever?" He'd probably say, somebody driving around, would probably say, "Yeah, go down to the shop and, pay, and we'll come up and we'll put a scoop in your truck."
Right.
I'll consult with the zoning officer and get a better answer.
There you go. That's a slight concern.
Yeah.
Just want to make sure there's no conflict there.
So I covered the lighting, covered the grading, the features, entrance, building locations, lighting, trees.
The gray shaded areas will be asphalt and everything else is stone then?
Yeah, the gray shaded is that correct? That's where everything's planned to be paved and everything else would be packed stone.
Are that secondary building with the bays, is that going to be a mechanical garage as well or just
This one up here?
storage? Yeah.
This would be just storage. All his mechanical is going to be down
Oh,
here.
okay.
All his mechanical will be in the main
The
building.
main building.
Yeah,
I got it.
this will be for like if he's got to load up a trench compactor, and that's where he keeps the trench compactor. It more convenient to the entrance. You can just come in. Guys can come in and just get those materials or that equipment, jumping jacks and all that neat fun stuff.
Steve, is there anything you want to touch on?
I'm just looking through my letters, things that Mike didn't bring up. He did request waivers for frontage improvements, curb sidewalks and widening, correct?
Yeah,
So-
little confusion on the ordinance language. For Bethlehem Pike, because it's an arterial classification, it says that specifically, I guess it would be the widening and curb would be per PennDOT. So I don't know that,
Well, that's the
It's-
design would have to be for PennDOT. Whether it's required is a township function. Looking at this, the widening is probably with the shoulders and the center turn lane, that's probably already wider than the township standard for pavement. You should take a look at that again. That waiver might not be necessary.
yeah. Yeah, I questioned Dave Horner on it as far as the shoulder, and he said typically 6-foot shoulders are the standard width. So it's not like we have a 4-foot shoulder that we have to improve or anything like that. As far as improvements along the frontage, we're not getting away without doing anything. What we'll be doing is PennDOT historically along Bethlehem Pike here is requiring a 1-foot deep wide drainage swale improvement along the entire front of the property. We will be doing that down to the entrance to where the point where this massive embankment starts, where that cut starts through where when Bethlehem Pike was constructed, there was quite a bit of a rolling hillside here that they cut through. But what we'll be doing is we'll be picking that water up because everything kind of right now drains off of Bethlehem Pike onto the property and just kind of meanders its way down. We will be picking that up and routing it through our system internally, and then getting those flows safely transferred down to the discharge point. So we will be doing those grading and drainage improvements. As far as storm sewer, we're going to have inlets on either side of the entrance up here. One on the upgrade side to pick up the, this will probably end up being like a double inlet to pick up the short range of stormwater coming off of Bethlehem Pike. And then on the other side, we'll have a series of inlets to pick up what's coming off the entrance. As far as the way the drainage is structured here, there isn't a large drainage area that comes off Bethlehem Pike because anything coming down from the north gets intercepted. There's a ravine right along the northern property line. As you come down here, that cut starts right up at Bethlehem Pike. So any water coming down turns into that ravine now and naturally comes down to this drainage way. So this will be very easily controllable with what we're going to set up. And again, we will take that water routed through the site, through our systems, and get a proper safe discharge and a level spreader down here at the lower end.
You don't want to put sidewalks in?
Not really.
Back up to the next guy. Walk to the gym.
Yeah, there's well, especially down here, there's no room. There's a 18-foot embankment down with right down to the edge of the 6-foot shoulder.
Right. I mean, is there any reason to have curbing out there?
No.
I don't think so.
No, you would use it for drainage, but if PennDOT's going to require drainage swale and inlets, that defeats that takes the place of the purpose of curb.
Yeah.
And the shoulder would too.
You have any other concerns, Steve?
No, I mean, there's a lot of things that Mike said that still have to be cleaned up, but
right.
I don't know that there's any that really require input from planning commission other than the typical recreation land dedication or contribution.
Just one other, just an FYI. It kind of was dragging us out also for a little bit. We have VW Consultants, who is the environmental consultant for all the flagging and the waters, and they're actually running. We currently have an active JD before Army Corps. Army Corps was out maybe about a month and a half ago, and they took the original layout and they made changes. So then we had to go out. They actually had other areas that they wanted included within the delineation that VW did, and then we had to get the surveyor to go back out, re-get those, and then they were going back and forth with Army Corps trying to clean up and solidify the JD on the wetlands and the waterway, which basically is their blessing that that's what it is, and that's what we're going to run with.
There were no wetlands in the southeast corner of the lot,
No, everything was over here.
is on the plan, right? And the lot.
Yeah.
Historically.
This is kind of the beginning of a large area. I believe there's municipal property down here also.
Yeah, that goes into the catch basin.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, my comment is in the lot to the right. There's a stream that looks like it starts pretty much right at that.
This
corner.
here?
No, bottom right, southeast corner. Lot.
The adjoining property. to the southeast, right?
South.
Yeah, right where all those tables are.
There, it shows on the
Southeast would be
plan
the front.
diagram that there's another stream starting right there. So I just,
Yeah, no, they didn't
bring
map
that up.
anything out
They
there.
didn't say anything.
And no,
Army Corps didn't.
they went through the whole, all their mapping and all their data, and they didn't say to call out anything out over there at all.
All right, you guys have any questions? Concerns? What are you looking
So-
for tonight? You're just,
Well,
Keeping
I'm
us
just
on
giving you,
changes.
because I got a lot of loose ends now where we're pretty much know that where we're going to be at with the layout. This was an accounting nightmare for doing the environmental standards and all the overlaps. I have one or two items that Steve pointed out, some inconsistencies. They're minor. It's not going to change anything. It's just getting the numbers right and the matchup of what's being labeled. Things like that, just to get it cleaned up and so that we're just down to major requirements. PennDOT permit, NPDS permit, ENS control, agreements, and administrative items. So that my expectation is with my next plan submission, that's where I'm going to be. And right now, I got the lighting information. PennDOT's underway. This is one of the reasons why I don't like starting NPDS permits early, because if you start early, any change, like even just the driveway entrance, cascades through the entire application, and it just creates a complete nightmare in preparation of those applications. So once I know everything is now I do know that this is going to be set. I know my layout's set and works, and then we can I can jump right into it. I'm looking at trying to have a resubmission in probably 2 weeks. So that might take us into not next month, but
June.
following month, with the timing for Steve get a review until I can get on the agenda. And
And that'll have the full stormwater design.
that's going to have stormwater on it. Yes.
And that's a major outstanding issue for the township. You know, the NPDS permit, the JD,
Yeah.
that'll.
Yeah.
come in.
I will-
That could be a condition.
I will very shortly be requesting the pre-app meeting with the county, and I guess you want to be included on that if you want to attend, or just include you and you can make.
I'm available.
Okay, well, I'll make sure you're kept in the loop with the county, and then if you want to attend, you attend. That's fine.
you good?
I'm good.
All right, all right.
Okay.
So I guess we'll see you
All right.
June at the earliest. All right, well, thank you.
Jump on it. Thank you.
No, I'm not taking any action. All right. So next on the agenda is old business. John, I know you had something you wanted to talk about.
Yeah, I'm old enough to have some business. Kind of continuing from our discussion last month about the data center ordinances. Hard to turn on the news anymore and not see a news story somewhere about municipalities investigating ordinances to regulate data centers. So I've continued to do more research and trying to find information that's available. You know, the supervisors are scheduled tomorrow to have a public hearing on the data center ordinance. And if there's an openness to additional input for modifications to that, I have some additional information that I'd like to share. Bucks County Planning Commission now has a website dedicated to data center and data center ordinances, and it's fairly new, so they're looking to build a library of ordinances that the townships can use to build their own. I found in there an interesting one that was developed by York County that I thought was very well written. It covered a lot of the same areas that we've talked about ourselves and went further in some areas talking about additional protections. As an example, there's a clause in there that says that any use or activities producing air, dust, smoke, glare, exhaust, heat, or humidity in any form shall be carried on in a manner that is not perceptible beyond the property lines. There's a lot of that kind of wording in there. They talk a lot about buffering and tree planting issues and screening. One of the things that they took into consideration, we talked about, how far the building needs to be from property lines. They actually broke it up into separate pieces. If the center is less than 100,000 square foot, here's your buffering requirements. If it's between 100,000 and 250,000 square foot, here's your requirements. More than 250,000 square foot, here's your setback requirements. So it's a little bit more, say, all encompassing or greater encompassing of different possibilities down the road. I know in our case right now, we're sort of, be honest, focus on one particular potential site, but having wording that is more open to different possibilities in the future may be advantageous to us. The York County ordinance also talks about the customer substation. They give a nice description of what the data center substation should look like. They mentioned that it should be furthest away from many residences possible and not on the front of the building. I don't think we exactly touched on that, but they were looking at isolating it further and having specific wording in there about screening for the substation. In terms of rooftop installations, they talk about having a parapet wall at a 45-degree angle. You can't see any equipment that's mounted on the roof of the building. They don't talk about requiring solar panels as we talked about, but they use wording that they want to encourage energy efficiency, solar ready, not necessarily solar required. Talking about sites that avoid sensitive wetlands, floodplains, maximizing tree preservation for woodland areas. So again, this is kind of the flavor of that document, which I thought was very interesting and worth considering going forward. So again, if there's openness to taking another look at what our potential ordinance would be, I would recommend that that's something that we may want to take a look at just to see what we can beg, borrow, and steal from something that's already been written. The other item I want to talk about tonight is battery storage facilities. We had a project come through in the beginning of 2021 for a potential battery storage facility, and it kind of fell off my radar, and somebody brought to my attention that they actually held a community meeting recently for their proposed project. So Greg sent me the information from the previous meeting to jog my memory, and we looked at it at the time, and it was something fairly new, so what do we do with it? And there was debate whether is it a utility? Well, it deals with energy, but it's not a regulated utility. Is it manufacturing? No, they really don't make anything. Is it a warehouse? In a sense, if you consider a data center to be a warehouse for information. Information comes in, it's kept there, and when somebody requests the information, it comes back out again. Battery storage facility kind of has the same concept. It's an energy warehouse. It stores energy when there's energy available, and it holds it there and sends it back out when it's needed. We don't have a specific ordinance that I could find that covers that. So again, doing some more research, I found other municipalities that looked into creating an ordinance for battery storage facilities. There's a couple municipalities within Pennsylvania. I found a generic ordinance that was written for New York. That again, I thought that might be something we may want to consider going forward to tighten up what our restrictions are if this project ever comes to fruition. We want to make sure we've got something that covers noise, vibration, and setbacks, and in particular decommissioning, because batteries, anybody has a cell phone, no, batteries don't last forever. So you know, at some point in time, it's going to wear out and they may just abandon the facility sometime going forward when the batteries wear out. So they, you know, should we have something in there in an ordinance that talks about what to do to make sure that the township is protected from somebody just walking away from a site when the batteries run out of their useful life. So again, I think that's something we may want to consider going forward, to put together an ordinance that covers battery storage facilities.
So suggest to the supervisors that we look into putting an ordinance together for battery storage.
Yes.
I would agree with that.
Was one of the things you had, it combined them?
There was actually one municipality that did that. They put the data center and the battery storage in the same ordinance, which is, you know, something else we could consider. That's where I came to that conclusion. Well, you know, they're both warehouse kind of functions, and they're both have a lot of environmental impact, maybe not to the same degree that the data center has for water usage, but there's noise, there's vibration, there's lighting, there's all those kind of issues that are common to both. So that's another possibility. We just include
Similar dangers too,
similar dangers.
right?
I mean, it's going to slow the process for getting the
Well, you know,
ordinance for the.
that's part of it too. You know, we said up front that, you know, this is going to be something, it's not necessarily a one and done. So, you know, we've got something, the county signed off on it. You know, does that become version 1? And we move ahead with looking at version 2, or do we do the best that we can right now? I don't get paid enough to do that.
Well, then the other thing too was today, the House passed 2 bills with regard to data center, you know, regulations and potential suggestions, and, you know, what the state is going to be looking for too. So not that we wait necessarily for the state to do it, because that's going through the Senate to even become law, but there might be some things coming down from the state as well that I guess could be incorporated in the future, but existing ordinance that we have.
The other thing, a couple other tidbits I found interesting. I think it was Toamenson Township. They specifically amended their definition of warehouse to state, this does not mean a data center.
Okay.
So they kind of looked at it from both directions, you know, a
Right.
data center is its own thing, but when you look at warehouse, this isn't a data center.
I think that question came up too, right? With whether they could take an existing warehouse.
And
Right.
you know,
convert it to a data
convert it to a
center.
data center.
Yeah.
Sort of
But they would still have
before
to-
it came in.
Yeah. Right. But they'd also have to
Right, zoning.
come in
Right.
under the
Yeah.
regulations of the ordinance.
Also
But yeah.
found another, which seemed off the wall, that there's a major concern about energy usage. What's the infrastructure required? What's this going to do to my electric bill down the road? There was some discussion in one township. They specifically stated that the data center had to be connected to the local public utility, because somebody was concerned that they would bring in their own nuclear reactor, like the kind of use on nuclear submarines.
Right.
And plop that down and use that to power their data center. So there's all kinds of ideas out there, creative and otherwise.
And that wouldn't be regulated by PUC because it's not public.
Right, because it wouldn't be connected. Yes. So I don't know if we want to put a
I think
clause.
there's something out there that would
No
regulate.
unregulated nuclear facility.
Right.
Probably a good idea.
Greg or Steve, do you have any input on this? I mean, would it make sense for me to interject this into my report, suggesting that we
I
consider?
think it's worth advising the supervisors that talk about these things. I guess, you know, the decision for the supervisors is just what John said. Are they going to push forward to adopt the initial version, to have an initial version on the record, act immediately, and then come back and review? And as far as the state, you know, I was talking about that in another town. you know, that could go two ways and we don't know yet. You know, the state could supersede all of us and issue their own regulations that have to be met.
Right.
More likely, they're just going to do guidance. I don't know that the state could get themselves together to actually mandate requirements on data centers, but at a minimum, you'll get guidance or, you know, sample ordinances that, again, then you could use to revisit the ordinance and
Right.
and reshape it if necessary.
Inject new information
That's-
into the
yeah.
ordinance.
I agree with what Tim said, that, you know, don't wait for the state to make up their mind.
Well, I think too, if you, if we're here with, you know, data centers, I mean, why don't we get here with battery storage too? You know, with sample ordinance or something similar. You know,
But yeah,
but they start looking at that because it's coming, right? Right, so
Yeah.
we currently have nothing on either.
no, I agree. And like I said, I mean, I'll let them know that we talked about it and suggest that they look into bringing an ordinance together for battery storage. Whether or not they want to incorporate it into the data center ordinance or not. You know, it's something to
Yeah, I mean, but I mean, start,
Get the ball rolling.
yeah,
Yeah,
start the
absolutely.
ball rolling because
Yeah.
it's coming at us. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean,
Instead of being reactionary, be more proactive.
yeah, I definitely agree with that.
Coming down, it's like a snowball downhill.
Yeah.
No, I agree. So if you guys are all right with that, I'll let them know what we talked about and I'll suggest that, they look into doing an ordinance for battery and. So
We're incorporating it into the data center.
consider
ordinance.
putting another data center.
I mean, if the data center is this far ahead already, might make sense just to do that since we're there with it and then work on this, you know, at some future time. Maybe you
Yeah, I mean, I don't.
combine, whatever, but at least we have
I don't want
something on the
to,
books for each.
I don't want to slow down the,
No.
the progress on
Right.
the data center ordinance.
Is that something at some future point you can incorporate, like combine ordinances
Well,
under one
they're all
umbrella?
zoning ordinances, right, in the end,
So
so
it doesn't really
it
matter.
doesn't
It's
matter.
standalone
I mean, if you're,
or
if
Combined,
you happen to be adopting it at the same time, it's less aggravation if you have one
right?
overarching ordinance that you have to advertise and have a
Right.
public hearing for, rather than doing two or three at one time. But ultimately, they all end up in the zoning ordinance.
Just didn't know if there's any overlapping things like substations and, you know, electrical.
Oh,
All that kind of
sounds-
thing that would make sense to have them together, but regardless, like I said, they're both ordinances, so. Yeah, I don't want to slow up the data center.
No,
Yeah, I mean, you could adopt, you know, an ordinance that has, whether it's one ordinance or two amendment, look at it as an amendment. You're amending the zoning.
Right.
So it'd be one amendment or two amendments, and you could have data center and its definition and the whole list. And if that comes first with all its regulations, you could future have the battery storage with its own regulations and then say, and items, you know, A through Z of the data center ordinance have to be met also for this one. So
Right.
you don't have to necessarily rewrite everything if
understood.
most of the standards you want to be the same. You could refer back and forth if you want.
Input.
I mean, I agree, back to the data center ones. I support what we're suggesting about the battery storage, but, recommending to the supervisors to, pass version 1, if you will, what the county approved. Does that, you know, weaken our chances for any future amendments? Like we're going forward and we want to get something on the books now. But we had, I'm assuming last month's meeting, all of our discussion, was that included in the plan, in the county's review of the?
I wouldn't think.
No,
So,
It
right.
was the
so-
original language.
Right, so they approved, the county blessed, if you will, the original one, and then we've had last month's meeting and now this month's meeting. I agree that we want to get something on the books quick. I'm just raising the question right now, you know, we come up in another few weeks, month or whatever and say, we want these additional amendments. Is there any, you know, risk associated with that or pushback that we might get? By, you know, coming back every 2 months with, we want more and we want more and we want more. I don't have the answer. I'm just raising the question.
I understand the question. Yeah.
Just wondering if we go with version 1, get that approved, and then when we go to amend it, we'd also have the battery center stuff or the battery storage in there. And then any amendments we want to make to the data center at that point.
That sounds
What's,
reasonable.
what generates the push to get something on the books right away?
What generates the push for data center? So we have something on the books so it doesn't come in under warehouse regulations. We have stricter regulations.
So at what point in time does somebody then become grandfathered to the existing ordinances?
When they submit,
Yeah, when they submit a full application.
So that,
So that's what we're trying to get.
that's why the clock is fast, because we want to have something on record before somebody puts in a submission. If somebody puts in a submission now, it's going to most likely fall under warehouse regulations. If we get this on the books with tighter regulations for data center, then if we get that in before we get any submissions, then they're subject to that.
So is that just an application for land development?
I don't know how deep you got to go for.
Yeah, really, it's just, yeah.
So really, it's stage one.
and we don't require a sketch, so that'd be preliminary.
Well, that's a question beyond me, whether someone would argue if they put in a sketch plan if they had some rights. Typically, it's the preliminary plan submission. Like, the benefit that you have right now is the presentation that came was just purely volunteer
Information.
Right.
presentation. They made no application whatsoever, other than the request to be on your agenda.
Right.
But
Okay.
yeah, they could easily, or any other site in the township.
But I would actually think that the battery center is probably further along.
Well, they certainly have plans and
Yeah, they've planned.
know what they'd like. to
They've
do.
invested money in the facility. They've, you know,
They don't meet zoning at the site they're at, but they applied for.
I'm just saying. With what they didn't come with any kind of formal plan either. It was more informational with theirs too, right?
It was a sketch.
It was a sketch.
But it wasn't.
Sketch, because I did a review on that.
You did a review on it?
Yes.
So are they?
That's for the attorney to tell you.
Yeah.
They didn't act on it.
But either way, the site is, they don't meet zoning at that site.
Right,
They'd have
that
to
was
go-
the issue at the
They'd
time.
have to go through zoning hearing. All right. Anything else? All right. New business, any new business? I have none.
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 Steve, you have anything?
No, just to say, we do have a couple plans out there, so the next couple months, we have the gas station, convenience store at the old air gas facility.
It said in there, convenience store that had the Wawa in the parentheses. Is that what it is? Or it's just, that was an example?
Oh, that was probably from an old letter, but no, it's not a Wawa. It's a private gas station.
That's what it seemed like, but when I saw that, I'm
Okay,
like,
yeah, I saw Wawa
Yeah.
too.
whoa, man. Like,
No,
that ain't gonna fit there.
That's my mistake.
Okay, all right.
This is a 4,000 square foot building they're trying to get on there,
That's crazy. That's a little lot.
but it is they are a private,
pumps too?
yeah, they are a private developer, so they want to come in and explain to you why. And that's just the sketch plan. They want to get your feedback.
Right.
Rock Hill Mennonite community is in for additional independent living units and some other additions to the facility.
Where do they want to put that?
Over, they acquired more properties on Old East State Road, East Old State Road. So that one vacant house that's there, there's two properties, a vacant property and one that has a vacant house on it.
Heading towards climates.
And Climber, the old Huff.
Well, I forget the name now. I just had it in the letter. It began with an S. No, it's going between their entrance and the vet,
Oh, Souders property.
Southers property.
No kidding.
Yes.
Wow.
So there's two 36 unit buildings there, plus
No
other
kidding.
improvements on the main buildings. And that's a sketch plan also. We finally got a Guns minor subdivision. Remember before we did a lot line adjustment for them, but now the family wants to break off a lot.
Right.
So that'll be coming in. So there's several things that'll be on the docket. And if Mike get the submission in, we'll be back with that one in a month or two. So,
Yeah, so that'd be June at the earliest.
yeah, there'll be a couple things over the next at least 2 months.
All right, so no new business. I'll open the floor to public comment. If you want to come up and make comment, please come to the podium and state your name and address. Anyone? Going once, going twice? All right. Want to make a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, everyone.
References that. I feel dumb. Thank you. Let's see. Thanks.
Are you running for office?